There are a number of reactions that people have at the sight of a great task to be accomplished. We may be frozen in thought, running in all directions except forward. We may see the giant task and feel urgency to start something immediately, anything, because that task is just so huge we need to start right away. We may even turn to others and stop them from working, saying it can't be done. They are all human reactions, and sometimes we can't help feeling them and displaying them, depending how much pressure we are under. Let us harness that thought running in all directions. Let us use that sense of urgency. Let us calm our doubts and inner naysaying and do what we know is right. Break it down. Break it down from this large, overwhelming goal to be accomplished in smaller and smaller tasks until you have something that is an activity or a resource to perform. It's still not easy. It still requires a still mind and a team that understands brainstorming and accepts and recognizes that we all engage in those unproductive behaviors. But we can channel that energy into a most important task, building the work breakdown structure. Imagine you were building a pyramid. To be honest, it's a little hard to imagine as we don't have the experience of building a pyramid, but that can be an advantage if you are leading a team in creating a work breakdown structure. So give us a bit of poetic license here, as we too do not know how to build a pyramid, but it can serve still to help us building a work breakdown structure. The goal is to build a pyramid. The requirements are its dimensions, height, location, alignment, and what materials it's made of. How might you break that down? One way might be site is prepared, stone is quarried, materials are transported, and the pyramid is assembled. Anything else that might be missing or not contained in one of these giant work packages? To be sure, an expert pyramid builder would have to be consulted and would have other work packages that we didn't think of here. But let us hope that in part of our team, we would have the expertise of an experienced pyramid builder to help us catch these missing high-level items. Now, looking at these tasks, they are still too large, and they give too much to someone to estimate schedule. We need to break them down further. Maybe something like this. Site prepared, which breaks down into location selected, layout aligned with stars and marked dimensions, flattened base, and then stone is quarried. Suitable stone quarry is located, overburden material cleared, the stone is cut. Materials transported section could include a route selected, a route marked, infrastructure built, roads, docks, etc. Logistic designed and scheduled, stone moved from quarry to the building site. And the pyramid assembled could involve assembly method selected, interior is built, stones are placed. As you probably noticed, the more you break down the structure, the more expertise you need with the subject to break it down properly. This task is not done by one person, but rather a team. I'll bet you also recognize where I missed some steps. So yes, I do want you on the team, contributing to the brainstorm where the work breakdown structure is built. Let us do an amateur job of breaking down just one branch of this pyramid work breakdown structure, just so you can see how to get it to an activity that could be estimated and assigned. The site preparation and the location selection could break down into assess the site candidates, which could break down itself into survey the site, engineering consultation, financial consultation, political consultation, gotta talk to the pharaoh, and maybe then a visit with the pharaoh to review the pros and cons of each site, confirm the pharaoh's selection, argue with the pharaoh, execution. Let's hope that's execution of the project and not your execution. Not recommended step, arguing with pharaoh. So work breakdown structure. You've just kind of been shown what it is, but how to build a work breakdown structure can also be taught. It's not magic. There are several approaches you can choose from, and it is you and your team's decision on the best approach for the project you're managing. The analogous method is starting with a work breakdown structure from other projects with similar characteristics. Maybe your organization builds pyramids all the time, and you can start with the work breakdown structure that was used on the last pyramid. Analogous. It's like an analogy. Okay, I should warn you, there will be more of this kind of humor in this course. Or maybe the organizational method suits because you build so many pyramids that you have a template work breakdown structure to start with that only needs minor tweaking to work for your particular pyramid project. The top-down method was what we were doing in our example with the pyramid, by starting at basic sub-projects and breaking them down further. Phase-based approach is the idea that you divide the work into project phases like feasibility, design, build, test, pilot, implementation, etc. How do we know when we're done? How do we know if we did it correctly? Building the work breakdown structure, these guidelines will help you. Ensure that 100% of the scope and objectives are covered by the work breakdown structure. Never list work twice for the same thing. Focus on outcomes, not actions. A work package would be no less than a work day and no more than 10 work days. Aim for approximately 3 levels of detail. And a work package should be assignable to a team member. This work breakdown structure is going to turn into a schedule. It's going to have things like dependencies, sequence, estimates, and people assigned to do the work package. At this point, it is mostly important that we understand what we've recorded and that it falls into the guidelines we just stated above. Nothing is particularly hard. You break it down into small jobs. A quote from Henry Ford, sometimes referred to as the father of assembly lines.